Loaded show here on Miami Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. The Dolphins got fantastic news regarding their coaching staff. Plus, are the Dolphins targeting Marcus Mariota in NFL Free Agency as a potential backup option in the 305? But before we get on to all of that, hit that sub button. We're currently at 67,250. I'm Nic Rohloff. We put out daily content here, and we're going to be live later today for a Dolphins live show. Join the channel right now. All right, we'll start with the news on the coaching staff because on late Sunday afternoon, Adam Schefter reported that the former Eagles head coach, Chip Kelly, and Ohio State offensive coordinator, is being hired as the Las Vegas Raiders offensive coordinator. And you might be asking, why in the world is Chip Kelly going to the Raiders as their OC? Good news for Miami. Well, before it was announced that Kelly would be joining that Pete Carroll staff, the reported and rumored leader for that position was actually Darrell Bevell, the current Miami Dolphins QB coach and pass game coordinator. Bevell has been an offensive coordinator his entire career almost since the 2000 century, and he has worked with Pete Carroll in the past, so he interviewed with the Raiders, and the connection with him and Carroll in the past made him the ideal candidate potentially for the Raiders OC job. I mean, you see it. He's been an offensive coordinator in the league as well as an interim head coach 2 separate times in Jacksonville and Detroit, but he's got some of the most experienced offensive mind in all of football. He's been working with Tua, Mike McDaniel in this passing game over the last 3 seasons, and it's awesome that he is likely going to probably stay in Miami rather than go be an OC again. And I mentioned why it's so key is because look at what the Dolphins passing attack has done with Darrell Bevell on staff. Now you can also connect dots and say, well, this is when Mike McDaniel installed his offense with Tua. Tyreek Hill also came to Miami. Take away all of that. Here are the pure facts. The Dolphins have had a top half passing attack in the NFL with Bevell on staff for the past 3 seasons. 6th, 2nd, and then 16th this past year. But the Dolphins being 16th in passing yards per game in 2024 is impressive considering Tua Tagovailoa missed 6 games. You had to work with Skylar Thompson, Tim Boyle, Tyler Huntley, and you were able to still put up good passing numbers, at least average, in 2024. Despite all of that, that shows me that Bevell, Frank Smith, and Mike McDaniel know how to script the passing attack, and it makes me happy that Darrell Bevell is potentially staying with the Miami Dolphins. But what say you? Are you excited that Darrell Bevell is likely staying in the 305 on this Mike McDaniel coaching staff? If you're with me and are excited, type Y for yes or type N for no. I do want to put this out there. I still don't think it's a 0% chance that Darrell Bevell leaves. Like, if Pete Carroll offers him more money on the Las Vegas Raiders staff, would he join his old friend in Pete Carroll? Maybe. It's possible. He's not getting an upgrade in position, but hey, maybe if it's a pay bump, he'd be willing to leave Miami to join as a senior consultant on the Pete Carroll Raiders offensive staff. But as it looks right now, he's staying in Miami with Mike McDaniel. I like the continuity here because you've had Frank Smith, McDaniel, and Bevell over the last 3 seasons. Hopefully it's the 4th year in a row these 3 are working with Tua and the offense, and hopefully Miami's offense will be better in 2024 with health and a more dynamic, diverse attack. All right, let's transition it over to the other part of today's show. Marcus Mariota, is he someone that the Dolphins and Chris Greer are going to target in NFL Free Agency early in March? Crazy to think that free agency is just basically a month away. Well, Adam Schefter dropped this quote on Pat McAfee Monday afternoon saying that there could be a little bit of interest in Marcus Mariota between the Las Vegas Raiders and Miami Dolphins. Now, with the Raiders, it makes sense. Chip Kelly, Oregon head coach, former that is, did work with Mariota. Marcus has already played in the Raiders organization in the past, so maybe Mariota goes back there. But him linking him to Miami was quite the little surprise. He also went on to say that I'll tell you where Marcus Mariota is going to be an option. With Tua, his good friend Tua. He'll be an option there. He's going to have some interesting options this offseason. So I'm fascinated to see that Mariota is someone linked to Miami early in this offseason free agent process. We know how much backup quarterback is a need for Miami. Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley have not been adequate enough over the last 3 seasons with Tua. He's missed a lot of games, missed 6 games in 24, missed 4 games in 2022, played in all 17 in 2023. But the quarterbacks behind Tua have not been good enough, and Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel both acknowledged that and said that no stone will be left unturned in terms of backup quarterbacks this offseason through the draft and free agency, and we're already starting to see some names get linked to Miami as options. We'll talk about more names as well as go in depth on Mariota here in just a second, but I do got to show some love to Game Time, the sponsor on today's show, and if you want to go see any live event, make sure you get your tickets with Game Time. Game Time has so many great features, one of them being Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You also get a full panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know you're exactly where you're sitting, whether it is a concert or a sporting event. You know what you will be looking at. You also can toggle the feature all-in pricing. Doing that shows you the total price of your ticket up front rather than getting blindsided by fees at checkout. Nobody hates trying to buy a ticket that you think is $60. You head to checkout and it's $100. No, Game Time will show you the actual price of your ticket. So if you want to go to an event, use Game Time. Join me and the Chat Sports crew over on the best ticketing app there is. Download the app. Use code CHATSPORTS when creating an account. That will get you $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. First purchase only. But use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off on Game Time first purchase. Shout out to Game Time for sponsoring today's show. We mentioned Mariota as being someone linked to the Miami Dolphins, and I think that is an interesting fit, but I also want to showcase some other names that could be beneficial to be coming into Miami. I will kind of start to take Sam Darnold off the list. He is clearly going to get a starting job somewhere next season, and he is not going to be an option for the Dolphins. Same thing could probably be said about Justin Fields, but the other 8 names on this list, Heineke, Brissett, Wentz, Mack, Jameis, Mason Rudolph, Andy Dalton, and Drew Lock are all options for the Dolphins in NFL Free Agency. But maybe they do like Mariota specifically due to the fact that he has a good relationship already with Tua. Both of them, I believe, come from Hawaiian Samoan descent, so there's that kind of connection between the two. But Mariota is a capable backup. He has been someone that has started in the league. He was a top 5 pick in the NFL draft in 2015. Mariota is a highly touted prospect that has a lot of experience in this league, and if you needed him to come in for a drive or two, even start a game here and there, hopefully not just more than 1 or 2, I think he'd be able to do it. And I don't hate the fit in Miami either. Mariota has struggled down the stretch of his career a little bit with the Atlanta Falcons as a starter and the backup in Philadelphia, but he had a better season with Washington, and if Mike McDaniel identifies Mariota as someone who could run his offense in terms of being accurate, decisive in the intermediate part of the field, well then maybe, yeah, I'll take Mariota as the backup. Before we talk more about Mariota and showcase another quarterback option for Miami, take Chris Grier's job. Would you sign Marcus Mariota in NFL Free Agency to be the QB2 in Miami? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I would be typing my S's. I'd be typing my signs, man. I really do, because I think he's a decent fit. He's a good locker room guy, but I also think he would come really, really cheap. He played this past season in Washington on a 1-year, $6 million deal. I think you could get Marcus Mariota on a 1-year, $5 million deal. Got to take into the fact the taxes are different in Miami compared to the other spots. So $5 million in Miami is almost equivalent to the $6 million in Washington. So I think he'd be able to sign that. He's a good locker room guy. He'd be into his ear telling him the right things, but also potentially helping develop a QB3 that you drafted on day 3 of the NFL draft. I think Marcus would be a good option for Miami. But he's not the only one linked to the Dolphins early in this free agency and offseason process. So far, we have 2 veteran free agent quarterbacks mentioned with Miami. 3 if you count Jacoby Brissett being linked by Bleacher Report, by actual reporters and insiders. These are the first 2 names, Mariota and Andy Dalton. Dalton should come to no surprise for Dolphins fans. It was reported that the Dolphins checked in with the Panthers prior to the trade deadline last year about Andy Dalton, especially with Tua missing those 4 games on IR due to his concussion. Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald reported that there is still registered interest there as Andy Dalton is a free agent this upcoming offseason. And both would be really good options, in my opinion, adding to this room. Why? Because they are experienced veteran quarterbacks that I would trust to start 1 or 2 football games if they absolutely needed to, but could help in the film room and help mentor a young rookie quarterback that you potentially drafted on day 3. I mean, you see those numbers next to their names, Mariota and Dalton. Those are their career records as a starter. So you have Mariota 74 career starts. Dalton having 168 starts. Both of them put up pretty solid numbers that are absolutely good enough to be a bridge level guy for maybe 4 or 5 weeks of the season, like what the Patriots did with Jacoby Brissett and Drake May. But here's the thing. You are not bridging them into a rookie quarterback. No, they would be coming in and just being a straight up backup to Tua Tagovailoa in case he gets hurt or you help develop that QB3. These are 2 high level backups that I would welcome into the Miami Dolphins locker room and organization with open arms. I think I would probably lean Andy Dalton over Marcus Mariota because I think he's just a better overall quarterback, and I think he showed he still can go win you a football game at age 36, age 37, where he is right now. But I also think Dalton would be a better mentor potentially for a quarterback you draft, which is something Miami should absolutely be doing. We have showcased this list quite a bit early on in the offseason. Shedeur and Cam Ward are likely going in the top 10, top 15 of the NFL draft, but the other 8 names on this list could range anywhere between the 1st round and the 7th round, if we're going to be completely honest. So Miami, who I've said time after time after time, should absolutely be drafting a quarterback in late day 2, maybe that 3rd round, 98th overall pick that you're projected to get in comp picks, or in day 3 of the NFL draft. Should be used on a quarterback to potentially have as a long-term backup option, or maybe a starter if they perform really well. I think this would be the perfect offseason at the quarterback position for Miami. Signing Andy Dalton or Mariota, one of the 2, and then drafting a quarterback on day 3 in the 4th round, in the 5th round, one of the 3 picks you have in the 7th round projected. That's a great plan for backup quarterback. It really, really is. I would not be able to complain on that one bit. You do that, allot the $5 million in free agency, allot one day 3 pick to a quarterback, and you have your quarterback situation handled for 2025, and we'll see how it progresses going into 2026 based on how this upcoming season ultimately goes. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Dolphins Today. Make sure you hit that sub button because we're putting out daily content surrounding this team. And while some people may take the offseason off, we do not. Hit that sub button. We'll also be live later today for a Dolphins live show. So make sure you hit that sub button and join us.